What's up, everybody? Johnny Lee Reinoso here with Don't Admire, Acquire. Hope you're doing well. Hey, look, in today's video, I want to talk to you about a startup mindset, an entrepreneur's mindset versus a corporate mindset. Big difference, much needed in both environments. In fact, one mindset can do extremely well in another environment, but one mindset can never be in the other environment. Let's get started.
I'm Johnny Lee Reinoso, and this is Don't Admire, Acquire.
I have a friend of mine who came to me not too long ago and said, "Hey, Johnny, I am looking to start a business. I want to kick off with this business. I think it's going to be great. I have all of these wonderful ideas." I said, "Share it with me." He laid it out. We talked for probably the better part of an hour. And then it got really to the important part. I want to raise this much money, and this is why I need to raise that much money, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And he literally had what I would consider a pretty detailed plan without having a physical business plan. It was pretty detailed. It was pretty cool. And then when it got down to the money, I said, why do you need to raise so much capital? And he says, well, I'm going to build out this office. I'm going to do this. We're going to do that and all these things. And plus, I need to make sure that I have this salary. Okay, because I got to make sure that I'm replacing what I'm leaving, which is X. And let's just say that the salary was around 80 grand. So he says, I need to make sure that I'm taking home or at least grossing around 7,000 to 8,000 a month because I'm leaving my current job, which is about that amount of money. And if I'm going to start this, I have to make sure I'm replacing my salary. And I said, really? And you want to replace that day one? He said, yes. I said, okay. Then I said, what are you going to do about your coaching? Because he's a pretty awesome soccer coach who actually is very competitive with his team and does a little bit of traveling on the weekends. And he says, well, I'm going to keep coaching. And I said, how are you going to do both? And he says, the way I do it now. I said, wait a minute, but you work for somebody right now. He says, I know, but I'm going to pretty much keep the same hours. I mean, I have to. I have to coach. It's what I love to do. I said, I get it, but how are you going to do it? He says, well, I'm a startup. I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm going to kick off. I'm going to make my own schedule. I'm going to make sure that I manage around this so I could do it. Really? He said, yes. Then he started catching on to my sarcasm when I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. And I said to him, I said, look, there's a big difference. There's a very big difference between being a startup, being an entrepreneur, being a startup, versus being a corporate mindset individual. In fact, it's even worse when you take somebody else's money and now you have to be accountable to their money to make sure that you're bringing back the dividends that they seek, that they're looking for. Because they're entrusting you with their money. I don't care if it's a private equity firm. I don't care if it's an institution. I don't care if it's a bank. I don't care if it's an individual. I don't care if it's your own father or mother. They're trusting you with their money. How dare you take the easy path and assume that you could draw salaries, okay? That you could draw the same lifestyle that you had when you were working for the man, okay, on their coin. That money needs to be returning a multiple that ends up putting money back into your company and money into their pocket since they are entrusting you in that with that dough. So, what's the difference? I love analogies. Let's just take the analogy of children. I have children myself, okay? I have children myself, and I have babysat kids in the past. So the difference between a startup and a corporate mindset, in my opinion, is like when your older brother or older sister has a child and you're still in your early or young 20s or whatnot, and you come over to watch the kid and they're going to go out on a date, your sister and brother-in-law or whatever, and you're babysitting the kids and you got little Jimmy on your lap and you're playing with him and you're joking with him and he spits up on you a little bit and you clean it up and you're kind of a little carefree and you're enjoying your time with him and now he's getting a little antsier, it's getting later, he's getting annoyed, you're getting a little tired, you don't know what to do. Your brother or your sister walks into the house, they had their little quick date, and you go, okay, here he goes, I love him, little Jimmy, here you go, take my beautiful nephew, bye. And you walk out the door, okay? That's corporate mindset, okay? When you have the responsibility, but there's a period of time when you're focused on that responsibility. When you have an incident that happens, but you're not concerned about it, like the spill up on, he spit up on you a minute ago, as I explained, and a little bit fell on the floor of the carpet, but you're not worried about it. It's their floor, it's their carpet, it's their child who created it. I'll help out a little bit here, but you know what? Love my family, love my nephew and all, but it's not my responsibility. That's the corporate mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, hear me very clearly. That's the corporate mindset. When you're focused and committed to something, but there's a start and end time. And now you walk away from your responsibilities and you go about your life. Just like when I love when I call certain clients of mine, when they're working, they're heads of sales or whatnot, working for different corporations, and it's 6:30 at night and I call them and they don't pick up the phone. I get a text and they say, I'm at dinner with my family. Listen, go, family time. I can't be interrupted right now. I'm at this, I'm doing that. Go, I get it, I respect it. But once, twice, if I call you 6 different times throughout, let's say a 2-week period at a 6:30 at night because I have a question and I'm calling you at this time, or my team is calling you at this time, and you don't answer the phone and you text back, I'm tied up with family, that's the corporate mindset. Here is the startup mindset. For those of you that have had children or watched movies where the family, the couple all of a sudden had a child, or you heard stories or you watched some TV or whatever the case is, just imagine. You work really hard. You realize you have the idea to do something here, to have a child. You really want to have a child. You're married, you're together, you do what you need to do, and all of a sudden you're pregnant, right? That's like the idea of starting a business, okay? You go through the motions, you go through the trials, you go through all that you need to do, and the time goes by and the trimesters, and boom. Now the child's here, boom. Now you launched your business. What happens when your business calls you at 1 a.m? What happens when your child starts to cry at 1 a.m? What do? Do you just plug your ears and put the pillow over the head and go back to sleep? Do you ignore the phone call if your business calls you at 1 a.m? If your IT department says there's a problem? What do you do when your child gets hurt, breaks his leg, and now you have a copay that's $1,000 or whatever the cost is to cast the arm or to cast the leg or to address the medical need? What do you do in your business when all of a sudden there is a security breach and you have to pay all this money to get things fixed, or you get sued for some reason that you didn't know that you could even get sued for, but you made a mistake and now you're going to get sued and you got to pay 60, 70 grand out of your pocket? What do? You see, there's a big difference. The startup mindset, there is no turning away. The startup mindset means you're last, not first. There's no PTO in the startup mindset. There's no PTO. Actually, let me rephrase it. In a corporation, you get paid for time off. In a startup, you pay for time off. Because if you're not there, you're not assisting in the production, you're not producing, you're not generating revenue most of the time, especially in a startup mindset. So the fundamental difference here, and keep this in mind, is in a corporate mindset, you typically have a start to an end time for your responsibilities. And underneath that auspice, you tend to walk away from it, and now you're doing something else, free from that, focused on or mainly relaxed and doing your thing with your family or whatever it is what you're doing with friends. In a startup mindset, it's like having a child. When do you ever forget about your child? If you have children, when are you not thinking about them periodically throughout the day? You always are thinking about them. You're always going to be thinking about your business. It's the same thing. When you start a business, recognize that it'll never leave your mind. If you truly are committed to being successful, it will never leave you and you will never leave it. There's no such thing as separating away from it, ignoring the phone call. You are always going to be the last one And that needs to be that way in order for you to always put your business and your employees first. Okay? Critical to understand the fundamental difference between a startup mindset and a corporate mindset. I hope you appreciate this. Thank you for stopping by. Don't be afraid to hit like, subscribe, smash the subscribe button especially, and share this with others. Cheers.